Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's been a minute since I started a video out barefaced, so I feel a little thrown off right now. But as you can see by the title, this is my year in review. I did one last year, I'm doing one this year, and as long as my foundation hunt continues, I will be doing one every year. If you did not know, this is your first video of mine. I do a foundation hunt series here on my channel where I test out a new foundation every month. Sometimes I test a new foundation out every day for a week or twice a year. So I am sitting down to just give you guys, a review, wrap up, an update on how I feel on all of the foundations that I have tried this year. Do I love them? Do I hate them? Have I changed my mind on anything? The foundation that had remained nameless the entire year that broke me out will finally be named in this video. And just throwing a little twist there for this video. There is a YouTuber, I cannot pronounce her name, so I'm not going to even try so I don't butcher it, but it will appear here in the eye, and her video will be linked in the description box down below. But she basically did a video where she mixed all of her foundations together to see, what she could come up with, what it would create. So, I was like, it's kind of cool. I want to see how that goes. So while I am giving you the update on all of these foundations, I will also be dropping some of each foundation into this little container here. So you'll get a wrap up, you'll get a cool little experiment, and you'll get to hear some of my thoughts. So if you want to see how this video is going to go, then just stay tuned. Now I do have to let you guys know that some of the foundations I have tried this year I do not have anymore. It either fit a friend or family member better than it did me. I gave it away, they took it, or I simply can't find it. A lot of them I really can't find. Also, I will not be dropping every foundation into the container because some of them broke me out, and I'm still trying to recover from the last foundation that broke me out, so no. And if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at the list of all of the foundations so that I don't forget any, and so that I say them in the order that the videos appeared on my channel. So the first foundation I tried this year is one that I no longer have. It is the LA Girl Pro Coverage Illuminating Foundation. That's a no from me, dog, on that foundation. It had me looking straight up orange. Okay, I'm talking tomato soup orange, and it's kind of hard to get past that, just the shade, when it has you looking orange, to even think about the formula. But talking about the formula, that's also a no from me. It didn't blend that well, and it transferred really easily, so that was 3 strikes and you're out for me. The next foundation is the NYX Total Control Drop Foundation, and boy did this one cause a whole bunch of controversy when I tried it, because I simply mentioned how it was annoying that you have darker shades. Everyone's always saying, like, we need darker shades, we need a whole bunch of lighter shades, but then you go into the store and all you can find are the typical shades that you usually find in a store. It'd be nice if you could have all of them in the store, and I hope people got their panties in a bunch. I said what I said anyway. And then there was the fact that I ordered the wrong shade again. When you only have online to go from, and you're pretty much used to purchasing the darkest shade that a company has available, this is what happens, and I ended up buying this shade. As far as the formula goes, I think this is a nice, everyday foundation. It is buildable. I really don't feel like a foundation like this you can build to a full coverage concealer foundation, at least not on its own. But as far as like medium coverage goes, I feel like this is a perfect type of foundation for if you're going for a medium coverage type of look with other products, or if you're someone who wears a little bit of foundation to go run to the store, or a little bit of foundation to go run to the gym or something like that. I feel like that's what this is for. So I had it in the shade Chestnut, and I said I would get it in a shade that actually matches me, which is the shade Deep Cool. So I'm gonna actually drop both of them into the container. Another thing, a whole bunch of people were upset because it said use like 9 drops, and I used, I don't know, like 16 in that video. But if you actually own this foundation, you would know that, I don't know, wait, I don't know how many drops that was, but we're just gonna just drop that all in there. If you actually own this foundation, you would know that 9 drops isn't going to do anything for your face, which is why I put a whole bunch more in there. Now while I put the other one in there, we're just gonna drop the whole drop in there. Alrighty then. So the foundation I tried after that is the Iman Luxury Concealing Foundation in the shade Earth 3. To be quite honest, I wasn't that impressed with the amount of shades that this comes in. I think it only comes in 5 shades, and this is the second to last or something like that. The shade was okay, you know, it wasn't my perfect color match. And as far as the actual formula of this foundation goes, if you like full coverage, then, you know, I feel this is more so for you. I prefer more of the medium to buildable type of coverage. For me, it's just a guessing game when it comes to this one of, am I going to pump, you know, the normal amounts that I would pump with any other foundation and get medium coverage, or am I going to get, you know, cakey coverage? It was just too much for me, which is why I don't really use this. But if you are the type of person who only does, you know, a beat full face, then you'll probably like this. It might not be the easiest to find your shade with this though, so we're just gonna... Is there anything in there? Okay. Next up is the Tarte Amazonian Clay Full Coverage Foundation. This is one of those, you know, it's just type of foundations. There's nothing wrong with it. It does say full coverage foundation, but I didn't feel, at least using it with a beauty blender, I didn't feel that it was a cakey type of full coverage. I believe I said that, you know, this is just kind of like a, again, you know, if I'm just running to the store type of situation there, that I would throw this on. I feel like, you know, my enthusiasm or lack thereof right now kind of lets you know how I feel about this foundation. It's just one of those that's there. And it's funny because it says it's a full coverage foundation, but I think the Amman is thicker than that foundation. Now, the next foundation I do not have, and if I did have, I certainly would not be dropping it in our little container. It was the Wet n Wild Focus Photo Focus foundation. That is the foundation that I've been referring to all year that I said will not be named, but it broke me out. If you watch the video, you would know that that was the foundation. But yeah, the foundation broke me out. And, you know, with foundations that possibly break me out for some reason, I think to myself like, oh, well, let me try it again to make sure it's that foundation. So I actually ended up trying that foundation 3 different times, and it broke me out each and every single time. There's something about that foundation that my skin just does not like. I do believe that is not an oil-free foundation, so that is probably why. And also I had 3 or 4 shades to choose from, all of which made me drastically red. So, you know, that's not 3 strikes, but, you know, that 2 was enough for me, but because I'm just not here for the skin breakouts. So the next foundation I actually didn't try on my channel, but I tried it during a Snapchat takeover. It is the Pure Bare It All 12-Hour 4-in-1 Skin Perfecting Foundation. Now, as far as the formula goes, again, it is one of those, you know, if you're more on the simple side with your makeup, you don't do full coverage. This is more so sheer medium coverage, and even medium coverage is pushing it. You know, it does have a good oil control, but it says 4-in-1. You're not gonna get 4-in-1 with this. You're just gonna get, you know, a sheer to maybe medium foundation with this. And if you do at least prefer medium coverage, you'll certainly need other products with this to get, you know, that much coverage on your face. Now this is in the shade Deep. Deep is pushing it on my skin tone, and I believe that there are only 6, maybe 5 or 6 shades. I know it's certainly not even close to 10 shades. I don't believe it's like 8 or 9. So I think it's somewhere around 5 or 6, maybe even 4 shades. So that is the reason why I don't really pick this up that much. You need to step your game up here when it comes to foundation shades Pure. But we're gonna go ahead and drop that in if I can open it. All right. So if you caught my foundation hunt week earlier this year, this was the first foundation I tried during that week. It is the MAC Next to Nothing Face Color. Now, I've had a lot of people ask, you know, like, have you tried this MAC, you know, Studio Fix, Prolong, whatever foundation. I've tried Studio Fix, I believe it is, and I returned it to the store because it was just too heavy for my face. So when I saw that they were coming out with this foundation, I was weary just because I do know that MAC foundations are a tad bit heavier, but you know, it's called Next to Nothing, and really, you ain't putting that much on your face when you put this on. This is in the shade Dark Deep, which I believe is the last shade that this comes in. It performs rather well. During the first foundation home week I did, that was for foundations that I would wear more so in the summer or just when it's hot. This is certainly one of those. You'll get a medium type of coverage when you're using this, and it does hold on to oil and all of that stuff really well. But you know, like, would I wear this now in December? No, because you know, I'm more so in the medium to pushing it on full coverage. But during the summer, this was worn quite a bit. Next up is a foundation that I do not have. I don't know why, because I know I didn't give it away. But it is the Sephora Collection 10-Hour Wear Perfection Foundation. I had tried the shade 56 Milk Chocolate. Now, usually when a shade match is just god-awful, I try to find, you know, something to say about the formula if it is something I could recommend. I don't think that was one of them. The shade, again, had me looking extremely orange, and the formula did not hold up that well. Again, that was during a time where I was testing out foundations that I could wear during the summer. My oil showed through, and just, you know, combined with everything else, the whole shade match thing, maybe I did give it away. I probably did, because I wasn't gonna wear it again. Actually, the next two foundations I also do not have anymore, and once I tell you what they are, if you've seen the videos, then you probably know why I don't have them, and once I start talking about them, you'll understand why I don't have them. Next was the Urban Decay Naked Skin One and Done. I was also testing out BB creams during that week because, again, I was looking for, you know, summer approved foundations or BB creams. Yeah, one thing I learned is that whoever creates BB creams, you know, I don't know what they have against darker skin, but they don't make them for them, because wow, that shade had me looking ghostly. I was about 2 days late for my funeral in that foundation, and as far as the formula goes, I wasn't here for it because it was separating where I have dry patches. I have combo oily skin, but here and around my nose I have, you know, rather dry skin. It was separating in those areas, and the oil control wasn't the best. So, you know, there you have it. 3 strikes, we're out. Now, the foundation that I tried the very next day was the e.l.f. Broad Spectrum BB Cream. Again, that only comes in 4 shades, 5, somewhere around there. The shade was just a hot mess on me. The foundation was just a no because it was a rather sheer. Now, I know you said you're looking for a BB cream, but I mean, I didn't need like that sheer. Like, give me something, like make it look like I put something on my face, especially if the color match is going to be a hot mess. And it had no oil control whatsoever. So again, that defeats the purpose of looking for it to wear in the summer. So that was that foundation. Now, the next foundation I actually do have, and it is probably my favorite simple, everyday, no makeup, quick errand running type of foundation. It is the Bare Minerals Matte Foundation in the shade Warm Deep. Now, again, I have combo oily skin, and it's been said that if you have oily skin, you should, you know, gravitate more towards a powder foundation. I took the plunge and I finally tried a powder foundation, and you know, whoever said that is right. It's, first of all, it's the matte version. They do have one that is not matte. My face was matte the entire day, and it was a simple, you know, it looks like my skin but better type of formula. It's pretty beaten up because this MAC and like maybe one other thing I used a lot of during the warmer months this year, so yay for this. Now, I'm not sure how we're gonna get this into our little cup here. All right, so there's our little container, and we're just gonna pick some up and just... Alrighty then, that is looking interesting to say the least. Let's see here if that's going to focus. Next up, I have the NARS Sheer Glow Foundation in the shade Dark 3. Now, the shade was okay for me. It was a little red on me, but you know, the whole sheer and the glow part had me a little nervous. And to be honest, I probably wouldn't run for this foundation if you have oily skin, but it's not horrible for oily skin. It's not one of those, you know, where I came back and it looks like, you know, I just threw a whole bucket of Crisco on my face. You know, there are some luminous glowing foundations that give you a nice normal type of glow if you're not someone who likes the matte look on your face. Would I wear this alone? No, but I did start mixing this with the Cover FX Natural Finish Foundation, I believe, which I will talk about very shortly. And I've mentioned it before, but the Fenty Beauty foundation I feel like mixes just wonderfully with everything that I've tried it for. So I would probably mix it with one of those as well. But yeah, this is more so I feel for like normal or dry skin. Left in there? Yeah. Alright, I had to put it down and scoop some out because, I don't know, it was being shy on camera, so there we go. And the last foundation I tried that week is the Smashbox Camera Ready BB Cream. This is probably the only BB cream I have found that actually worked on me. I really liked how this formula wore, especially for warmer months. It had amazing oil control. The wear time was great. It didn't go anywhere, it didn't move anywhere on your face. The actual coverage was medium. You're not gonna get full coverage with this. I don't think you want full coverage with a BB cream, but you could at least get medium with this, which, you know, I think is nice. And the shade worked on my skin tone. The only thing, again, Smashbox, I need about like 20 more shades, please, because this only probably has like, what, 7, somewhere around there, so do better. So the next one is taking it all the way back to my very first foundation hunt, which was on the Maybelline Fit Me foundation. Earlier this year, Maybelline released a whole bunch of more shades, so I decided to try out one of the new shades, which was the shade 358 Latte. I adore this foundation. I think it's a really great drugstore foundation for oily skin. So there's nothing really much I need to update you guys about when it comes up to when we're talking about the formula. But the shade, it was okay. You know, I could probably use a little something in between 358 and 360, but I did recently hear that they've added even more shades. I don't know if that's true. Let me know in the comments down below. So, you know, maybe they did give a 359 and I would go check that out. But as far as the foundation goes, if you can find a shade, I would absolutely recommend this. Ooh, oh, that was, oh. So the next foundation and I have a very special bond because this might just be the best color match I've ever had with a foundation. It is the Cover FX Natural Finish Foundation in the shade N1, and no, that is not the right one. It's the shade N110. That is the perfect shade for me. This is the shade N90. Which I got during Generation Beauty, which is not my correct shade. So I don't know where the right one is. But shade N110 is probably the best shade match I've ever had. Unfortunately, this isn't really the best for oily skin. It wasn't horrible, but you know, it didn't control much. Which is probably my biggest factor when it comes to a foundation is, you know, I'm not trying to look like a disco ball or, you know, some type of shiny whatever an hour after I put makeup on. But you know, I feel like all skin types can get away with this. It's just, you know, it's probably like better off for a different, you know, normal or dry skin, but I still wear it because, again, best shade match I've ever had. I just need to find the right one because it's not N90. All right, I can't find it, so we're gonna drop N90 in. Now this is what I used to make the previous foundation work when I mixed these two together. It is the Lancome Tint Idol Ultra 24-Hour Makeup. This is, I actually don't, now that I'm holding it and I'm thinking about, you know, how I feel about this, I'm just kind of like, why don't I use you? For a good minute I was mixing these two together just because I felt, you know, this, well, the right shade of this mixed with this just had a perfect combination, especially for the summer. But Lancome on its own, it doesn't really need anything. You know, if anything, this was helping this, not the other way around. I don't have anything negative to say about this foundation. There's a reason why you've probably heard it be talked about so much. And now I'm just kind of like, why don't I wear you? I don't know, I might start mixing this with my Fenty foundation. I'm just stuck in the combo that I have right now, but you'll be seeing some more of this as well. So next up we have the foundation that I tried that really just made me feel there was a need for this foundation hunt. It is the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. So over 2 years ago I tried this and it was just awful. The video was there, okay, it was orange and that was the darkest shade at the time. So earlier this year they released a newer dark shade, so I picked it up. It is the shade Cocoa. And I really do like this. I believe I said in the video that, you know, like you'll see more of this, and you have seen more of this, just not alone. Again, I really haven't been wearing anything without mixing it with the Fenty Beauty because I just like how they all look mixed with it. But the foundation itself is a good foundation. I feel like this is a good medium coverage foundation, but you can go to full coverage if you want to with this. The wear is great on this. No separation or anything like that. This is actually a really good, you know, I'm kind of rediscovering, you know, why I don't wear some of these more often, but this is a really good foundation. Now this next one, you know, people talked about this for months. They called it the best foundation out there. It was only $6. It was sold out forever. When it finally did come in, you had to bum rush to go order it before it went back out of stock. And I don't like it. I mean, I don't care for it, I guess is what I should say. It is the Ordinary Serum Foundation. I didn't feel that it was for oily skin. I didn't like the formula. They do have a, I think, coverage foundation instead of the serum one, so maybe that one is the one I should have tried. I didn't like how it wore. I don't like this foundation. It's $6, so you know, if you want to try it, you know, it won't be breaking the bank if you do try it. As far as the shades go, they were okay. You know, they could obviously be better. I think this is the last shade, or the second to last shade that this comes in. The color match was actually pretty good. I'll give it that. The color match was pretty good, but this one, I just don't like the formula of this foundation. So this will be the last time I talk about you. Now the next one, some people have said, is the most full coverage foundation that is out there. It is the Danessa Myricks Vision Cream Cover. I don't really like cream-based foundations, and you know, they didn't lie about the full coverage part. This is an extremely full coverage foundation, but that's probably part of the reason why I don't really care for it. You know, we're not going to say I don't like it, except for one of these I'm about to talk about. But this, I'll just say I don't really care for. It's just too full coverage for me, especially since I pile on about 8 other products when I do a full face. It's just too much for me. I believe I felt it on my face, if I'm not mistaken. But you know, if you are that type of person, it has to be extremely covered up. I think this will work great for you. You know, it's just my personal preference. It's just a little too much for me, but at least, you know, it's true to its claims, or what people claim about it, I guess. You see how thick that? So next up, as if enough people haven't talked about this foundation this year, and it only launched in August, is the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter. This is an amazing foundation for oily skin. You know, I've seen some videos from people who have dry skin. It doesn't really work out for them. I have dry patches. I didn't really feel like it did that much to them, but you know, there's a difference between having some dry patches and having a full face that's dry. So you know, if they don't like it, you know, just let them not like it, all right? However, I feel like this formula is probably the best that I've tried, or one of the best that I've tried this year. Now, would I wear this foundation alone? No, because if you saw that video, this foundation, if you've also seen it or tried it, dries down a little bit darker than, you know, how it initially appears, and because of that, it dries down a little too dark for me. I never went into the store to see if the shade 440 would have worked better for me, so I just mixed this with just about every other foundation, and it makes my face look nice with just about every foundation that I mix it with. So that's why I have no complaints as far as the shade goes, but you know, if I wore the shade on its own, it would be just a smidge too dark for me, so I'd have to brighten it up with other products that I put on my face. But as far as the formula goes, I am all the way here for it. Again, for oily skin, I can't talk for dry skin. You know, they've spoken, they said that they don't like it. It is what it is. We're gonna go ahead and... So next up, I tried the APDG Longwear Liquid Pigments, and you know, they just kind of broke social media when they posted swatches or pictures of all of the bottles that they carry, because they had about 33 shades, if I'm not mistaken, and the lightest was white, paper white, and the darkest was black. Color black was the darkest shade that they had. So you know, everyone was just, you know, in awe of that. You know, I got a whole bunch of, you know, can you try this, can you try this, can you try this, can you try this, can you try that. Now, I explained in that video that you know, everyone was just, you know, in awe of that. You know, I got a whole bunch of, you know, can you try this, can you try this, can you try that. Now, I explained in that video that, you know, everyone was just, you know, in awe of that. You know, I got a whole bunch of, you know, can you try this, can you try this, can you try that. Now, I explained in that video that, you know, everyone was just, you know, in awe of that. You know, I got a whole bunch of, you know, can you try this, can you try this, can you try that. Now, I explained in that video that, you know, everyone was just, you know, in awe of that. You know, I got a whole bunch of, you know, can you try this, can you try this, can you try that. Now, I explained in that video that, you know, everyone was just, you know, in awe of that. You know, I got a whole bunch of, you know, can you try this, can you try this, can you try that. Now, I explained in that video that, you know, everyone was just, you know, in awe of that. You know, I I ordered it when the hype was crazy on that thing, and I didn't receive it until like after everyone was on the hype over Fenty Beauty, which a lot of people were like, oh, you know, like they saw Fenty Beauty and, you know, that they decided to jump on the bandwagon. And I had to, you know, in that, you know, scenario, defend them and say like, no, they had it before Fenty Beauty came out. So I gave them that credit, but the fact that I didn't get it until Fenty Beauty came out was a problem. So I started looking into that, and I realized like a lot of people, you know, had some issues when it comes to ordering from that company. I saw a couple stuff that looked a little shady when it comes to them, and then the actual product itself just turned well, the formula when I tried it was trash. That was the worst that I've tried this year. As far as formula goes, it did not want to blend. It separated everywhere. You know, I had makeup here, but it didn't connect to the makeup here. So it wasn't for oily skin, it wasn't for dry skin, it just wasn't for anybody, okay? So that's how that formula worked as far as that goes. But it's just too shady for me. You know, I wouldn't recommend like trying them out. I don't know if they'll get it together as they move along as a company, but you know, I'm good on them. So I've gotten a lot of questions on this foundation. I did not try it on my channel, but I did try it on Instagram. It is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place Makeup. If you saw my very first video on YouTube, you understand my experience with this. So I've actually tried the formula before. If you've seen it, you know the story. It was just the shade that was an issue. So I finally got a chance to try the correct shade, which is 6N Mocha. And oh, I just remember someone asked me in a comment what shade I was, and I think I might have told them the wrong shade. My bad. But yeah, that's the shade. And as far as the formula goes, I feel like there's a reason a whole bunch of people, you know, call this their favorite foundation. It's a really great foundation. It's really great for oily skin, and this is another one of those like I feel like it'd be really great across the board. I didn't have any issues with any of my problem areas on my face. It wears great, it lasts great. That's the same thing, Shanine. Let me just stop talking. It's a great foundation, okay? I've spoken about like 12 or something foundations so far, and I'm shot at this point. So we're gonna try to speed this up here. Ooh, oh. So last month I decided to do my second foundation hunt week. Now the first one was geared more towards, you know, foundations for the summer, and the second one was for foundations that were either released, you know, during the winter season or for the winter season, because, you know, a lot of us, even if we do have oily skin, get a little bit drier during that time. So, you know, I wanted to test them out, and I just about lost my mind during that foundation hunt week because these companies just about lost their minds with these foundations that they were putting out. The first one being Jouer. Now, Jouer released their first, no, that's not their first foundation, but I feel like it was the one that got like the most hype out of everything that they've released. It was their Jouer high coverage, high essential full coverage foundation, I believe. And they sent me every single shade that they have available, which, you know, sounds cool until you open the box and realize that out of 17 foundations, not a single one matches your skin tone. Again, I was casket sharp, okay? I had to go out in public that day. Some girl like really tried it and tried to play me and was like, you should learn how to color match. There was a reason I was that angry in that video. So there was that, you know, as far as the shade goes for that foundation. I don't have it anymore. I don't know where it went. I know I didn't give that one away because I don't have anyone that I feel like could wear that, so I don't know where it went. But as far as the coverage goes, it was 2 full coverage for me. Now the next foundation was the LA Colors Truly Matte Long Wearing High Pigment Foundation. This again made me upset because I think there were only like 11 shades or something like that. This is in the shade Mahogany. You know, the shade, it wasn't horrible. It wasn't the right shade, but it wasn't horrible. But as far as the foundation goes, and the reason why I will not be dropping this into the container is because this foundation breaks me out, and it broke me out each time that I tried it. So again, that is, you know, the main reason why I cannot recommend this foundation. So yeah. So e.l.f. Flawless Finish Foundation. Do you see how this looks in the bottle? Do you see how my face looks? Okay, so can you imagine how surprised I was when I put this on and it was pretty much my actual shade? Again, here. This is another one of those, like, they only have 7, 8, 9 shades, somewhere around there. And the shades right before this one are a very big leap when it comes to skin tone. I don't believe this foundation was for me because it was kind of one of those, like, luminous foundations. The oil control, this is the second e.l.f. foundation I've tried this year, and I think both of them weren't that great when it comes to oil control, so I had to pass on this foundation. Okay, so next up is the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. This has been talked about for years. Multiple, you know, professional celebrity makeup artists say this is one of their favorite foundations. I tried it even though it is called the Luminous Silk Foundation, and as expected, when I came back I looked like a grease ball. It was just, it was horrible. I don't think any other foundation I came back with this whole year was as greasy and oily as this one was. However, would you believe me if I say that this is the foundation I've been wearing for like the last month or so, mixed with my Fenty Beauty foundation. You can go back to like the last 3 videos that I uploaded. This is the foundation I was wearing in all of them, and even further than that. So on its own, is this for oily skin? No, it is not, okay? Yeah, I would stick to this if you're like normal or dry skin, but you know, if you got it like that to be buying $60-something foundations and you want to mix it if you already own Fenty Beauty, that is a great pairing. It's actually my favorite pairing right now, but on its own, it's not for my skin type. And this only comes in 14 shades. This is the shade 13, I believe, which on its own, you know, it was okay. You know, it wasn't like a perfect match, but yeah, there are only 14 shades. And the last foundation I tried that week is actually, I'm pretty sure, the one that made me just lose my mind. It is the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Foundation in the shade Chocolate Truffle 540G. Now, if you saw that video, then you know I didn't get 540G in that video, which is what I originally ordered from Sephora. They sent me 550R, which I believe is the last shade in all 30 that she released. It was a tad bit too dark. Not, you know, overwhelming, which is actually kind of sad. So I went back to Sephora so I could get the right shade, and would you believe that when I went to return the wrong shade they sent me, when I got home I realized they gave me the same 550R. So I had to go back to the mall to finally get 540G, and when I finally tried it out in a video, not only was this thing green yellow, which was kind of weird, well, not kind of weird, it was this greenish yellow type of color on me, but this foundation breaks me out. I do have combo oily sensitive skin, and I think I've listed 3 foundations that broke me out this year, which isn't that bad, you know, out of 20 something that I've tried. So yeah, that's why this is a pass for me. Now, the last foundation I tried in 2017, if you have not seen that video, I suggest you go do so. I've never spoken to a company, you know, the way that I did this one in that video. It is a new company. It is the CYO Matte Foundation. Some people, you know, might say it was a little disrespectful. I think this company is disrespectful, okay? I did a whole full face with them because they're affordable. I think everything is less than $8. Yeah, it was trash, okay? The whole thing was trash. I tried, what, over 12 products or something like that. I could only genuinely recommend like 1 or 2 maybe. But as far as this foundation goes, this is what it looks like. That's the color of the foundation, and that's their darkest shade, and it's called Deep, I believe. Let's see. It's the number 214, but it's called either Dark or Deep. Where? That's like, don't play with people's minds, all right? If you're gonna call it, if you're gonna put out, you know, tan medium, then call it tan medium. Don't call it deep or dark like we can't see how it looks. You know, getting angry all over again. I don't believe I cared for the formula either, so we're just gonna go ahead and dump it in there so I can move along before I get on their case all over again. So okay, so those were all 29, 30, somewhere around there, foundations that I tried this year, and this is what they all look like in the container. So I'm going to throw on some primer. I've been loving the Hourglass primer lately, and then we're going to see how all of them mixed together look on my face. Alright, so before I put it on, I just wanted to give like a close-up of how it looks with all the consistencies and all the different colors. This should be interesting. We'll see how it looks. Okay, so here it is on my face. It's not horrible, you know. This is it compared to, you know, my arm. The color isn't that bad. It's getting a little warm there, you know. It's getting a little orange there. But as far as the coverage and how this feels on, your girl feels gross. Okay, you guys know I don't like feeling makeup on my face, and I can feel something in this mixture that we created here, which is why I'm getting a little antsy right now. It is extremely full coverage. If you want to figure out how to get a full coverage foundation, just mix all your foundations together and you will get it. But I feel like that's expected because you saw how thick some of those foundations were dropping it into the container. Yeah, I don't know what I was expecting, but the outcome is kind of cool, I guess. You know, it's a little hard to look at. I don't know why, but I just need to wrap up this video. So that is it for not only mixing all of my foundations, but this year in review. Thank you to all of you for recommending some of these foundations, for asking me to try some of these foundations, for watching my foundation hunts. Of course, I will keep this up in the new year. I already have like the first 2 months of foundations to try for all of you. Make sure to leave a comment down below asking for whatever foundation you want to see me try next. And that is pretty much it. So make sure to thumbs up, comment, and subscribe down below. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.